Hello everybody and welcome to Poetry Surprises, and the surprise today is that there's no real surprise. We're still in lockdown in Scotland, so I'm having to get some exercise in another way in order to try to maintain some semblance of, well, fitness might be an exaggeration, but at least health. But anyway, I thought it'd give us a chance to have another look at the sonnet. Now, if you remember, we spoke about the sonnet. We said it's kind of like a sort of instant food. It's like a takeaway, a drive-through meal, whereby you know what you're going to get, and it's fairly quick to consume and usually very enjoyable. It's 14 lines. It takes a minute to read, and that's going to be an important point about what we're talking about today. And it has a change of mood about halfway through. So today I want to take a look at rhythm or pulse in the sonnet, which is maybe why the idea came to me whilst I'm on this monstrosity that I'm on at the moment. So now, do you remember the opening two lines of that Keats sonnet that we looked at the other day? When I have fears that I may cease to be, before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain. Okay, let's just rest on those words alone for the time being, and we're going to look at the pulse involved in that. Now, the first line is 10 words. Each word is one syllable. It has a pulse. When I have fears that I may cease to be. You get that? See, I'm going very slowly on this bike. The second line has 8 words, but it still has 10 syllables, and it has the same pulse. Before my pen has gleaned my teeming brain. Yes, so there we see different number of syllables, different number of, same number of syllables, different number of words, same pulse. As a general principle, no matter how many words there are in a sonnet, the pulse will be the same, and each line will have 5 beats. Now, let's do a little bit of math, as they say in America. 14 times 10 syllables equals 140 syllables to a sonnet. But more importantly, 5 beats a line is 5 times 14, which equals 70 beats. Now, a sonnet takes a minute, if you remember. So, that's 70 beats a minute. When we read the sonnet aloud, we are reading it with our heart. This is one example of how poetry works beyond the simple meaning of the words themselves. In fact, I would argue more important than the meaning of the words themselves. The pulse carries the life force, and the pulse of the sonnet is very much linked to the pulse here in the heart, and that's why it works. So, I'm going to read you a couple of sonnets now, but I'm not going to do it from here because, to be quite honest, I'll be well out of breath by the time I get to the volta of the first one. I'm going to read you one of my own, but before that, I'm going to read you a sonnet by John Clare. Now, John Clare was a great sonnet writer, 19th century pastoral poet, often considered a bit of a simpleton, went mad, was put into a lunatic asylum at High Beach, even though he himself was from Northamptonshire. Now, High Beach has a particular connection with me because it's where I used to go when I was a kid with my dad. And the asylum is actually visible from the house or the flat, the council flat, where I lived, which happened to be fairly high up on a hill. We will go there sometime in the future, but, you know, not today because we're still in lockdown. But anyway, John Clare left the asylum and made his way back to Northamptonshire. He had a very distressing last few years of his life where his sanity declined. And this poem, this sonnet, follows his sense of identity and selfhood. So let's hope I can get off this machine, get over to another device and record this sonnet. Might take me a few minutes. Okay, see you soon. Well, I'm glad to get off that machine, and I think before I do read the John Clare poem, I need a little bit of refreshment. Yeah, maybe beer would have been better, but it's a bit early for that at the moment. But anyway, I hope I got the idea across. And here's the poem I was referring to, this very stark sonnet by John Clare, who's a writer I greatly admire. And it's almost got a certain sort of like Fernando Pessoa element to it, if anybody knows Pessoa's work, or one of his personas. It's got that kind of questioning of self that seems to get right to the very heart of things. And Clare could do that with his language all the time. He's quite a remarkable writer and a very great sonnet writer, I think. This is Sonnet I Am by John Clare. I feel I am. I only know I am, and plod upon the earth as dull and void. Earth's prison chilled my body with its dram of dullness, and my soaring thoughts destroyed. I fled to solitude from passion's dream, but strife pursued. I only know I am. I was a being created in the race of men, disdaining bounds of place and time, a spirit that could travel o'er the space of earth and heaven, like a thought sublime, tracing creation like my Maker, free, a soul unshackled like eternity, spurning earth's vain and soul debasing thrall. But now I only know I am. That's all. And to finish this second episode of Poetry Surprises on the sonnet, I'd like to finish with one of my own. It's from my collection Earth, which I have down here. Let's get it in focus there. And it's about Willie. It's an elegy. And Willie was a bloke who lived in Castle Douglas, where I am at the moment. And an old boy who, while I was in France, died. And I heard he died. And I just wanted to commemorate somebody I knew, I guess. So I was sitting at a window thinking about him, and there was a tractor driving back and forth in the distance, and the sun was reflecting off the blades of the tractor as it ploughed the land. Elegy, remembering Willie. A tractor draws the distance to a close, defining land from overwhelming sky. Earth is seeded to revivify. The sun commands, the rapeseed duly grows. While you, discarded into flames, receive the least response, last seen as soon forgot. I read your name, but who will tend the plot? Who frame the photos, log the love and grieve? It's no great loss to leave so much unmissed, without a tear, a verse, without a sun. Who could want the fuss when all is done? Perhaps life's best when left unsung, unkissed. The ploughshare parts the earth with simple grace. Its blade reflects the sun ploughs space.